Today we're going to be looking at Arctic Fox in the color Phantom Green and Aquamarine, mixed together, of course. So this was a subscriber voted mix, so if you want to get in on helping me decide which mixes to do, just pay attention to my channel. I usually post the polls on my community page. So to start, my swatches are human hair, but the only one that is virgin hair is going to be the number 4 black swatch. The rest have been chemically colored or bleached at some point in their existence. One is pink. I'm assuming this is going to have a green undertone. Green and red are across each other on the color wheel, so I just want to see how well this covers the pink. 2 is gray, 3 is a natural red, 4 again is black. So 4 to 11 is a range that goes to a platinum blonde, and then number 12 is kind of like a toned version of number 11. So with my mix videos, I like to do 2 separate ratios to see like what kind of colors we can get out of one mix. So on the top and the bottom will be 2 separate ratios of the dyes mixed together. And we are going to start with equal parts. So that is 1 part of Aquamarine to 1 part Phantom Green. Please keep in mind, everyone's hair is different, which means everyone's hair will take color differently. Plus, different monitors and screens can make tones and undertones look different. So please just use my video as a reference for how this could possibly turn out for you.
Far off places, my love, she sits. My love is waiting to set me free. Do you believe the realest things don't take up spaces? So hard to find there on your own. Just passing through, just pass some time. If I make this yours, then you make it mine. Well, then we'll see with golden eyes. So hard to find there on your own. Just passing through, just pass some time. If I make this yours, then you make it mine. Well, then we'll see with golden eyes.
For the second part, we are going to do a 1 to 4 ratio. So that is 1 part of Aquamarine to 4 parts Phantom Green. Aquamarine is very pigmented compared to Phantom Green, so my thought with this is that adding just a little bit of Aquamarine to the Phantom Green will hopefully keep it looking green, but maybe more on the like emerald green side versus the kind of green that Phantom Green is by itself.
Wishing tables would turn. Pray for life without pain. Pray for life without words. Stretch of things that are put out of reach. What's the last thing that you think about before you fall asleep? The truth is hard to find, but mostly 'cause we lie. Versions of ourselves that we cannot define. Moving backwards or reversed, we're side to side. We're running circles up and down between the lines.
To really let these absorb and take to the hair, I'm going to let them sit for 3 hours and then I will rinse them out. When they're dry, I will meet you back here and we will do some comparisons. So I have to say, the Phantom Green was a little bit more pigmented than I expected it to be. I just remember it being more smoky, so I thought that it wasn't going to be quite as pigmented as the Aquamarine, but clearly it held up pretty fine on its own. So I will say I did intend for the top half here to be a little bit more blue than it turned out. I was kind of picturing it looking like the Alpine green from Directions dye, where it's a lot more blue, but still in the green family, I guess. And then I was kind of expecting the bottom to look like the top. So your mix will probably look a lot more blue until it sits on the hair for a bit. So as usual, always do a strand test. Overall though, this still is a very, very pigmented mix. I would say pretty much all of them, except the number 4, have taken some color. Number 1, I'm surprised. It's completely covered on both the top and the bottom. The top half does look a little bit darker than the bottom mix does. 2 was gray. 2 actually looks pretty similar to like number 11 and 12. So if you have any grays in your hair, it should turn out pretty similar, at least in my experiment. Number 3 was the natural red, and I'm not really sure if it would look any different in just regular house lighting, but under this direct lighting that I have, it looks very dark. Similarly to number 1, the top half looks darker than the bottom half. I see a lot more green coming through on the bottom. So I think if you have naturally red hair and you put in a green like this, it'll actually make it a little bit more of a natural type of green, like just kind of reminds me of nature-y types of greens, but a lot darker. Number 5, I would say overall still looks brown, but has a slight green undertone. Kind of same with number 6, but you do see more green coming through than you do at number 5. And then 7 and onward all looks really great. So I would say light brown and lighter would be probably okay with this, but I like to say in all my videos, if you do have anything darker than like a blonde, platinum blonde, always be wary that it might not turn out how you want, or it might wash out faster, especially if it's virgin hair. So I don't know if you can tell the difference on camera between the top and the bottom. To me, the tops have a slightly more emerald green where there's just a little touch more of blue, which obviously makes sense considering. And the bottoms lean slightly more of like a true green, but they all look relatively consistent. I've mentioned before that cool tones tend to not reflect light as well as warm tones, so maybe the blue in the hair is just what's making it kind of look darker, but it's actually not. I don't know. To me, they're not too far off from each other though. So I obviously want to compare some things for you, as I usually do. And this kind of green I've actually done quite a few times on my channel. So I'm gonna lay out the Arctic Fox Phantom Green at the bottom. So this is comparable to number 11. You can see it's a lot more close to like a warm toned green for sure. But as I was saying, I have a handful of colors I can compare this to. So instead of using one of those slots of time for the Phantom Green, I'm just gonna leave it here. And instead, we're gonna do one comparison for the top half and one comparison for the bottom half. So let's start with the top comparison. And that's gonna be the brand Punky color in the color Alpine Green. This is comparable to number 12, number 11, 10, and 9. Sorry, they're a little bit wonky. I keep all of my hair in separate boxes, like shoe boxes and stuff, and some of them are just a little bit too small, so they get a little warped. But this was my most similar dye that I had that looked like my top mix. The next most similar that I had was from the brand One and Only in Emerald Green. That one was also pretty comparable. I just felt like the Punky color was a little bit more similar. And then if you want it to be even more blue, the Directions brand Alpine Green would be much more blue in comparison. Honestly, I feel like it's preference at this point. The number 11 swatch for the Punky color does seem like it leans slightly more warm, just a touch. That could be the hair underneath. It almost looks like it could have been a little bit more yellow. But overall, I don't think the difference is wildly different, of course. Both are very pigmented, so it's kind of whatever will work best for you in the long run in terms of accessibility, who you want to support, all that jazz. And the comparison I have for the bottom half is going to be Manic Panic in the color Green Envy. This is comparable to number 12, number 11, number 10, and number 9. Okay, so for the bottom half here, it was a little bit harder to find a similar color. I do feel like on the blonde swatch, the Manic Panic looks very, very similar, but on the other swatches, even the 12, they all lean just a slightly bit more blue, the Manic Panic does. So my next in line that I was gonna consider was Juniper from Lunar Tides, but that one is a touch more on the warm side and a little bit smokier as well. I feel like the Juniper would be kind of in between the Phantom Green and this mix. So the Manic Panic is just a little bit closer. Manic Panic also has one called Enchanted Forest, which leans much more blue, so that would also be a good option too if you're looking for a very, very bluish green. As for greens that only have a little bit of blue, again, it's a little bit harder, and I obviously haven't done all of them, but to me, this one from Manic Panic, Green Envy, is the closest. But now I'd like to get into our before and after clips, which those, as well as anything after that point in the video, will all be done in natural lighting.
Far off dreams, far off places. My love, she sits. My love is waiting to set me free. Do you believe the realest things don't take up spaces? So hard to find. There on your own, just passing through, just passing time. If I make this yours and you make it mine, well then we'll see with golden eyes. So hard to find. There on your own, just passing through, just passing time. If I make this yours and you make it mine, well then we'll see with golden eyes. Head in the dirt, wishing tables would turn. Pray for life without pain. Pray for life without word. Just stretch of things that I put out of reach. What's the last thing that you think about before you fall asleep? The truth is hard to find, but mostly 'cause we lie. Versions of ourselves that we cannot define. Moving backwards or reversed, we're side to side. We run in circles up and down between the lines.
I hope this video helped. If you have a request, I do have a link below to a Google form you can fill out. Just remember, I only do brands that do not test on animals. Thank you so much to my patrons, and thank you so much for watching, and hope to see you in my next video.